Brilliant. So we're going to start this webinar. So welcome everyone to this ECMWF products for WMO countries webinar. I should probably introduce myself first. My name is Xavi Avellan, and here with me we have Estíbaliz Gascon. We're both from the Forecast department at ECMWF, and we're here today to just give you an update on the products and all the resources that you have available as WMO countries at ECMWF. Recently, there has been some updates in that. Traditionally, we had only available a few products to WMO countries, but at the moment, a lot more have been freely made available than you can already use today, free of charge, and also some updates on the licenses. So we'll go through them in the next probably 45 minutes, and then we'll take all the questions that you may want to ask at the end. So we've introduced ourselves. We should probably introduce who we are, ECMWF. So most of you probably already know us. It's ECMWF is the European Centre for Medium Range Weather Forecasts. We are based in Reading, UK. And it's an international organization formed by 34 member and cooperating states. So it's truly an international organization that was created with the goal of pooling resources in Europe to tackle this numerical weather prediction problem in the medium range. At the moment, we are an organization with more than 300 employees from more than 30 countries, and then we basically run our global models, but our focus is not only on Europe. We have commercial licenses and research agreements with institutions and countries all over the world. And in particular for this webinar, I also wanted to highlight our cooperation agreements with the WMO. ECMWF is currently a World Meteorological Center and the lead center for deterministic numerical weather prediction and wave forecast verification. And besides other things as well, we also provide a lot of data through the severe weather demonstration projects to several WMO regions that you may be familiar with. And our operational forecasting system at the moment has this configuration. Basically, we are talking about the high resolution model, HRES, which is our deterministic 9-kilometer model up to 10 days ahead. And then the Ensemble probabilistic forecast, which we call ENS, half of the resolution, 18 kilometers, up to 15 days ahead. We run both twice a day for 0, 0, and 12 runs. And twice a week, we also extend the 0 run of the Monday and Thursday up to 1 month ahead, and that's what we call the monthly forecast. On top of that, we also have the coupled ocean wave models with both the HRES and the ENS at low resolutions, of course. And finally, we also provide the seasonal forecast once a month with a 35-kilometer resolution with the current configuration. It's an ensemble of 51 members, and it runs up to 7 months ahead. In terms of products, so from that operational production, we offer a wide range of products, both graphical and binary products. The graphical ones, up to some time ago, and today actually, as a public user, you can only see a restricted set of charts on our website. Now, as a WMO country, you have access to the complete catalog of static web charts that we have on our web. This is a fixed set of products, graphical products, plots, maps, Meteograms, etc., that you can access and browse using this catalog. It's got this integrated view, and you can select those that are more useful for you and add them to your customizable dashboard. So you can have at a glance all the products that are of interest to you, and some of them allow you to customize a tiny bit. We'll see further down in the presentation what you can do and the kind of products you can access. But the big point here is that now as WMO countries, you can access the whole range of graphical products on our website. On top of that, on top of the static products, we also have what we call the ecCharts tool, which is a web application. It's restricted, so in order to access that application, you require a license. But it allows you to basically produce your own products, customized to your own taste, completely interactive, and then it's not only you can access through the web portal, you can also integrate it into your existing meteorological applications if they support the WMS protocol, the Web Map Services protocol. So you can overlay ecCharts layers on top of whatever maps you have on your application. We'll have more details about ecCharts later on in the presentation. But for now, that's the graphical products. And moving on to the binary products, again, there are basically two sets here. The WMO Essential, this is a data set that's released every day with our production, publicly accessible, anyone can access. It's basically a very, very limited set of basic global fields at low resolution. Then on top of that, we have the WMO additional data set. This is now restricted to WMO National Meteorological Services, so that's you. And it's got a much wider catalog of global fields that you can use. Those fields, you'll see that those binary products are basically in those two formats, the grid edition 2 format on a half a degree latitude-longitude grid for the standard fields, and then the buffer format is used for the tropical cyclones. All those products, all those binary products, can be accessed through our FTP service at dissemination.ecmwf.int. Again, to access the additional products, you will need your username and password. All this information and a bit more extended, you can find it in the link below. On top of all the real-time data sets, we also have other open data sets open to the public, anyone can use. You may be familiar with some of those, like the TIGI, very popular data set. It's a multimodal real-time ensemble, the sub-seasonal to seasonal forecasts, and also those coming from the Copernicus program. At ECMWF, we run several services of the Copernicus program, and in particular, there's the atmospheric composition CAMS data set that's entirely free of access, also near real-time varying forecasts. And then for the climate change service, we also produce the ERA5 reanalysis data set, and it's all open and free to access through those URLs. And finally, another interesting one would be the GLOFAS for the flood prediction. It's a global flood prediction system. It's also made available free of charge in that URL. Not only we provide the FTP or the data here so everyone can pull it, we also can push it to many destinations. At the moment, we have more than 1,000 destinations across the whole globe. Almost 80 countries. You can see these are the places where we are pushing the data produced here on a daily basis directly to the servers of our member states and users. In order to access some of the restricted services, you will need an account. And the good news is that every WMO country has been set an account, which is of the form WMO underscore and the country code. And normally we have an associated contact person in the country who is the owner of that account. And that one at the moment gives you access to all the static charts on our website, plus the additional WMO binary data. In order to access, then you need to log in and authenticate as that user ID on our website, and then after that you can browse freely all the products. One of the problems we find sometimes is, well, first, people don't know that they can have this user ID, and secondly, if they don't know the password, they don't know who is the contact person for it. So please do contact us. Through our service desk if you need to change the contact associated to your account, or if you have any problem accessing that account. Our aim is to basically keep our contact database as up to date as possible. So we have an updated contact for every WMO account, so everyone can access the resources that they should be able to access. And if you want to have a bit more, if you want to have access to the ecCharts or the delivery of the products to your own servers to run, for example, your local area models, then for that you will need a license. Again, the good news is that because of our WMO agreement, we can offer licenses for those WMO countries at the reduced prices compared to the commercial ones. And I summarized the 3 licenses currently available for med services of the WMO. The basic one would be the first column, the web non-commercial. That one gives you access to ecCharts, the interactive plotting tool, besides all the static charts in the website. And you can use that for official duties or any academic or research use, but any commercial use would be prohibited. That would cost an annual fee of €1,000, and it was introduced around 4 years ago. It's been quite popular. Since then, I think we have more than 15 countries who have joined this scheme. And recently we have reduced this license from €3,500 to €1,000 to make it more affordable for those developing countries that would like to have access to these facilities. And then all the way, if you want to have all the data delivered, we would have the full non-commercial license at the right-hand side of the table. That will give you access not only to ecCharts, but also any archive data in our historical archive, but also all the customized real-time product dissemination. So you would be able to select all the products you want to have delivered to your servers and change requirements as you go. And you can use, again, this for official duties and research. And that will cost around €42,000 as annual fee, or a bit more if you select to have the high frequency products, which are basically the hourly products up to step 90, plus the extra short runs at 6 and 18 UTC. And that one already existed for a few years, and we have some countries who use that. But we felt that there was something missing in the middle, so recently we have also introduced the standard non-commercial license that for a reduced price compared to the full one would give you access to the real-time product dissemination. So basically you would select a fixed data set in advance to be delivered on a daily basis, for example, to run your models, and then you would pay only for that data set. You would not have access to the archive data, but it would cost you much less. Normally, it would be around 10% of what a commercial equivalent license would cost. So more details about the licensing can be found on this link below. And if you have any questions about licenses or you would like to purchase one, then you can contact data services at ECMWF. And with that, I think it's time for my colleague Esti to just go through the different products that you have available on our website. So over to you.
Hello everyone. So what I am going to do now is try, especially it's interesting for forecasters, I am going to show you all the capabilities that we have in the static maps that you can access freely. And you have also, later I will show a bit about the ecCharts new products. So I will go briefly through each of these parts of the website. First, we have to access to forecast. We will choose charts, and then we can choose between all of these options. Now we are going to start for the medium range, and I will do an overview of how many variables you can find there. First of all, you can find high-resolution forecasts, so they come from our high-res. You can customize the maps, not as much as you can do in ecCharts, but still you can choose, for example, different accumulations of rainfall, or you can choose from 30 different areas to select in the global from the global set. Also, you can go through the past, so different past forecast. You have up to 5 days, 5 days of forecast that you can check. We also include 2 runs in this type of plots. So you will have available the run from 0 and the run from 12. And for all the products, we provide forecasts up to lead time 10 days ahead. So here you have 2 examples, but you can find many other more. What you can find also from this high-resolution forecast is different weight forecast products. So you can select your area and you can select the type of weight product. So it's maximum weight and significant weight height and so on. And also you have different simulated satellite products that can be from infrared forecast product or even water vapor products. Another important point as well is that you can access to the surface parameters that we calculate in ECMWF. Some of them you can see the examples here, like snow depth and sea ice cover, or the sea surface temperature or the soil moisture. But you have any other capabilities that you can access, like for example the orography and sea depth, or the albedo and other more. So also in each one you have different options to select. For example, in sea surface temperature, you can select if you want the real values or the anomaly values. Or for example, in the soil moisture, you can choose different layers of the soil. Well, if we go to the Ensemble products, first of all, you can find different products to select from Ensemble mean and spread products. So you can calculate the uncertainty of your forecast as well. Here you can see the mean sea level pressure, but you also have different parameters as temperature, wind at different levels, and geopotential. What we can see, for example, is in this plot the ensemble mean and normalized standard deviation, or the high resolution forecast and the standard deviation, so you can compare between both. Okay, also many of you probably already know about the Stream Forecast Index that we run here in ECMWF for several years already. This Stream Forecast Index is giving to the forecaster good guidance of how anomalous is an event for your location. So it can calculate how extreme is your event based on the ensemble forecast. What we do is compare the ensemble forecast distribution with a reference distribution that it will be the model climate that is obtained with our current reforecast. This EFI product can be useful like an alarm bell for forecasters to see extreme weather situations, or at least unusual weather for your particular location and for a particular lead time. So here we can see briefly how is the distribution of the climate distribution of an ensemble distribution. This is an example for temperature. And this is a cumulative distribution function where you have the probability of not exceeding a specific threshold. Well, if we go and we compare how this cumulative distribution function work, you can see how, if for example we have positive EFI, you will have the EPS distribution on the right of the model climate. So it's giving values that are higher of the model climate. And in the negative one, you will have the line of the EPS on the left of the model climate. It means that the values are slightly lower than the model climate. Or you will see how extreme or how different are from the model climate. Here's an example of in an EFI product for 2-meter temperature. And as you can see, the values go from -1 to 1. And what it indicates is in red colors and in blue colors, it means how unusual is the weather for that specific location. So for example, if you have values between -0.5 to -0.8, or from 0.5 to 0.8, it indicates that it's an unusual weather for that specific location. So it's probable that we will have some unusual weather there. If you go to the extremes of the values of EFI, you will find that it's likely to have a very unusual, so probably extreme weather for that specific parameter. You have to be aware this is not a simple equation, it's a bit more complex. I didn't have here, but you can find the whole explanation in the user guide that I will indicate later how to access. It's important to take into account that it corresponds to the unusual weather for your location. Because, for example, in a desertic area, you can have high values of precipitation, for example, EFI with values of 1, but maybe the precipitation is only 4 millimeters. But in that area, it never happens, the rain. So it's just only the indication of unusual. Here you can see all the parameters that we currently compute for the EFI. So you have parameters related to precipitation, temperature, wind speed, snowfall, waves, and also we include others for convective precipitation like Cape and Cape Shear. And the last one that we created is related to water vapor flux. Okay. So if we move to another ensemble product, you have the most common use probabilities of some occurrence of some event. So here you have probabilities of different variables. You can choose the variable that you want, and you can choose different thresholds for each variable. So for example, for precipitation, you can choose 5 millimeters or 10 millimeters. And also, as I mentioned before, you can choose the area that you are interested in. Okay, if we go now to the extended range forecast, you have the different number of products that you can obtain, but the base of all of them is that we compare the weekly anomalies of each area and parameter related to the model climate in each specific grid box. So what it means is that we won't provide the raw data. If not, that we will compute the anomalies to identify if something is out of the climatology or is different to the climatology. So here, for example, you have an example of temperature, 2-meter temperature, and also precipitation anomaly. And it's important to point out that we provide only up to 4 weeks forecast. We compute up to 6 weeks, but for now it's only available up to 4 weeks in the static charts. Another different products, more complex product that you can access is for example, the May and Julian oscillation forecast that many of you probably use. And also you can have an idea of how the tropical storm probabilities are up to 4 weeks ahead. There are many other products, but I invite you to investigate a bit more in the website and discover them. If we go now to the long range, so it's up to 13 months ahead of the forecast, we have a different number of products, but all of them are based, as well as in the extended range forecast, in anomalies compared with the climatology. So in this case, you can see an example of probabilities of precipitation and exceeding the probability of exceeding the median. You have probabilities of being in the lower third of the distribution, of the climate distribution, and you have any other options to choose. And another type of products that I consider really interesting is, for example, the plumes for El Niño event. So you can have an idea how in the following months it will be the El Niño forecast. And also you can choose different areas for computing El Niño. I plotted here the Niño 3.4, but you have other two options to choose. And finally, I wanted to mention the Meteograms and also the tropical cyclone products. So this is an example of the Meteograms that you can choose. And you have two different type of Meteograms, 6 hourly forecast up to 10 days ahead. And you can choose also the 15 days forecast that is giving a value of daily basis. So what happened is that here also you can compute and you can calculate the comparison with the climatology. So you can see how anomalous it can be your forecast compared with the climatology. And also you have different products for waves, for forecast of waves, and another ones that you can discover in the website. Also, you can add as many as Meteograms as you want in your dashboard, so you can choose the specific places and specific types of Meteograms to include. Well, finally, the tropical cyclones is a product, some set of products that the forecasters used quite a lot. And we indicate not only the possible intensity and trajectory of tropical cyclones, if not also the probabilities of each trajectory and other variables, other parameters, like, for example, the mean sea level pressure in the tropical cyclone center. So you have different products that can compare only with the plumes, so you can see its ensemble member, how is the trajectory, and also you can see other probabilities of the forecast. And finally, I wanted to indicate that it's important that you have available for each type of data sets the verification of many of the parameters that we include here. So I think that it's really important that you check the verification of the variables and the forecast, because, for example, for extended range and long range, it can be quite different for some areas. So I invite you also to check this part of the website. And well, in this part we include many variables, many scores for also for both for upper and lower levels of the air. We include the skill. We analyze the skill of the high-res and ensemble forecast, and we try to include to add other variables like precipitation. We have for tropical cyclones verification or EFI product. So please, I invite you to really check this before doing your forecast, because it can be a good guidance of how good is our forecast in each type of parameter. And now, briefly, Xavi is going to explain what is ecCharts, and later I will show some type of products that you can find there.
So it's me again. So Esti has just showed all the different charts that we have in our web catalog. So those are all the charts that you can today, without having to pay or acquire any license, you can access and use straight away with the WMO account that I mentioned. Now, everything from now on does require a license, and we're going to start with ecCharts. And for that, you at least need the web license that I mentioned earlier as well. So before Esti showed you all the different things, or just a sneak peek of what you can do with ecCharts, let me first cover a few things about the tool itself, what you can do, so you can have a feeling of the sort of things you could do with this tool. So it's again, I mentioned this. It's an interactive tool. It's a web, so you just need your internet connection and a browser to access all these application. You can use all the global fields as they come from our operational production. You can customize the projection. You can zoom. You can pan. You can put the map whatever you like. You can click anywhere in the map to generate on demand, to generate Meteograms, to generate time series for the different parameters that you are visualizing. You can probe and see the actual values of the fields in a specific location, and you can do that with more than 230 parameters, both from the high resolution model and the Ensemble. So basically here you create your own products. So if you don't find the product that you would like to use on our web catalog with this, we offer you the possibility, much more flexibility to come up with the product that you really need. As you can see here at the bottom, you can see all the options that you have. You can customize the map, zoom, pan, select the area, the longitude. You can undo and redo your actions. You can even produce a PDF of the map that you have come up with. And as I mentioned, the data you have here is everything coming from our operational production as soon as it becomes available. So as soon as it's out of the oven, you'll see it there in our web ecCharts application. And basically, we don't pre-produce anything here. We just create the plots on demand as the data becomes available. And you can actually see here at the bottom of the application, you'll have this timeline that will let you go backwards and forwards within the same forecast run. So for the same base time, you can go forward in time to see the forecast in the next few days. And you can also select previous runs, so you can go back in time in terms of base times and compare yesterday's forecast with today's one for the same validity time. So it's a very nice feature to have. And just I mean, there's a whole section in our website dedicated to the documentation of ecCharts and what you can do. But basically, just to give you an overview of how the tool works, basically here we have 3 basic concepts. The projection, so that's basically the area of the world and how it projects on the screen that you'll see. We have a huge number of predefined projections, but you can also create your own and store it for later use. And then on that projection, you will have several layers, which you can see on the right-hand side. So you have that menu where you can select the layers you want to show. You can order them on top of each other. They will overlay each one of those layers, and each of them will have a particular style applied to them. So you can basically maybe change the color scheme or change the contours, maybe change the, for certain parameters, you may change the thresholds for probabilistic parameters, and you can enable, disable them, hide them, or show them as you go. And all the combination of the projection, the style, and the layers and the style for those layers is what we call a product. That's what makes a product. Then you can save. You can we have a number of predefined products, but you can save it and then use it later on, tomorrow or the next day. Okay, so that's an overview of the tool, and now I hand it over back to Esti, who will just talk about some examples of what you can do within ecCharts.
Okay, hello again. So before I explain the static products, but in ecCharts you can find most of the static products that you could see, plus Another really useful products that we only produce for ecCharts directly. Some of them you can obtain also the binary files. Some of them are only available in ecCharts. So this is one of the recent products that we put operationally here in ECMWF. This is the precipitation type forecast based on probabilistic, so on probabilistic products, so based on ensembles. And here you can find 60 types of precipitation types, like rain, wet snow, freezing rain, and so on. And you can identify which is the most probable precipitation type, and also the probabilities of this precipitation. Also, it's giving some indication of the uncertainty of the forecast, because we include another color for low probabilities with uncertainty in the type of probability, and the type of precipitation that will happen. And also, if you click in some point, in the point of interest, as I click here in Russia, you can see how you obtain this meteogram that is giving you the probabilities of each precipitation type 3 hourly up to 7 days ahead. So you can see how you have not only the probabilities of each one, if not giving a guidance of the intensity of each one. So I think that is really an interesting product for winter season, and many other of the countries that reported could experience with that. Well, as other products that we already have before, you can combine this product to do your forecast with other products like, for example, the total snowfall for high res in a specific period, or the total freezing rain in a specific period from high res as well. And also you have other probabilistic products like probability of freezing rain or snow, or in a specific threshold in a specific period. Also, we have a new product from last year that is really successfully implemented, and also we received really good feedbacks, because we try to give a correction of the subgrid variability of the forecast in rainfall, and in this case is 12-hourly precipitation forecast. And what we try to correct is the occasions where we have some underestimation, overestimation in our forecast for a specific weather type. So the model can, this is a complex post-processing that we apply, but the product will be directly provided in probabilities or in as percentiles, this percentile that you want to choose. And it's giving good guidance, especially for extreme precipitation, so the tail of the distribution of the forecast, because it's giving good guidance in flash floods as well. So this is one of the products that we are testing, and we are producing more products based on this, like 6-hourly point rainfall, and also we will apply for calibrating temperature as well. Well, this is an example how this product works. For example, you can see the probability of exceeding 20 millimeters in 12 hours. As you can see in Norway, the raw ensemble is giving high probabilities, and the point rainfall identifies that for those specific conditions, our model is giving is overestimating the forecast. So this product just reduces the probabilities of this occurrence of this precipitation. However, you go to the area number 4, you can see how the probabilities in easy point rainfall are higher. So it means that for that specific weather conditions, our model is in general underestimating the precipitation. So this product, what it does is increase the probabilities of occurrence of this. So it's a kind of calibration of the model. Well, another product that recently we put operational and in ecCharts is the Meteograms. So you can see the Meteogram for a specific location that you choose, and you can see the lines not only for high resolution forecast, if not also for ensemble forecast. So you can see also the uncertainty. You can analyze the uncertainty of the forecast for that specific point. And as you can see in different levels, the uncertainty can be different in lower levels or high levels, and it's giving a good guidance as well. As complementary of this product, you can analyze also the forecast with autograph, and also you can analyze the type of cape and scene that you have in that specific point. Well, another set of products that we recently put in the ecCharts is the lightning products. So here is an example of one convective event in Australia, and you can see the products like, for example, the lightning flash density in a specific period, the probability of lightning flash density of a specific threshold in some period, and so on. So what you can do in ecCharts is customize and define your thresholds and your periods, and you can just define your product as you want. If we go to the verification of this case, for example, you can see that the shape of the area affected by lightning, it was quite similar to the one that we predicted. So it's giving good guidance also for dry storm, let's say, dry convection. Well, and finally, explain that we only, we try to implement new products in ecCharts every year, but also we try to improve the products that we already have there. So, for example, we have we previously have the instantaneous cape forecast, but now we included the maximum cape in the last 6 hours. What it does is that if in ecCharts you can access only to the instantaneous cape every 3 hours, in this case, this maximum cape will be calculated with hourly forecast, which it means that it will be more accurate in terms of calculating the maximum cape to create convection in your area. So this is one of the updates that we implemented recently. And well, this is a really brief summary of all the products that you can find in ecCharts and the static charts. So if you are interested in knowing more about them, you can access to this link. That is our user guide. That it was published recently as well, last year. So it's freely available for everyone. You can check all the forecasts, all the products that we have available, how to use them, and all the capabilities of them. So I invite also to have a look to them, and also you can decide if it's worth to introduce in your forecast ecCharts application, or is enough with the static charts. So well, from our side, I think that Xavi wants to include something more.
Yeah, just to finalize and to summarize, because we got these questions a lot in the first iteration of this webinar this morning for the other half of the world. One question we got a lot is, can we get hold of the slides that you used? The answer is yes. So the top link in this page is basically pointing to where the slides will be made available. They are not there now, but we're going to make them available shortly. That's basically in our website currently. There's a news item about the updated products and licenses for WMO countries, and where we announce this webinar. So it's the recording of the webinar plus the slides will be made available there as well. And then just a collection of useful resources. So basically where to go to find the charts and data sets. Also important, if you wish to know more about licenses, you should probably get in touch with data services at ecmw.int, or just first go to the license information page. And then, as Stephen said, all the information about the products you can find in the user guide. And for any other query, you can just contact our service desk at ecmw.int, and they'll be happy to help with any queries or direct them to the relevant teams. And with that, I think we have finished our webinar, and now we open the floor for questions. If you have any questions, again, you can use the chat facility, or you can use just speak if you have a microphone, and then we'll try to answer your questions.
Thank you very much.
No, they can unmute themselves, I think.
You should remember to unmute your microphone in order to do the questions, please. Or if you prefer, you can ask the questions via the chat.
So it seems everything was very clear.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No questions?
There are no questions so far.
You can always write directly to us if you have some question that it was not clear. Also, if it's related to the presentation, you can write us.
Yeah, of course.
To request some clarification about some points, so it's not a problem. Yes, I think that we have one.
Yay.
From Michael.
It's writing?
It's writing,
okay.
Sorry. Which surface parameters are available in Grid NetCDF for free? WMO Essential, correct?
So basically all the products are made available in GRIP, not NetCDF, but you can always convert them to NetCDF from GRIP using well-known tools. You can use, for example, our ecCodes software, which is the decoder encoder for GRIP and buffer that we use at ECMWF, that comes with a converter from GRIP to NetCDF. So you can take the GRIPs that we have available on our FTP and then convert them to NetCDF if needed. The complete list of products that are available in this FTP is on our website. Again, in the if you go to this link, the datasets for WMO and ACMAT, that's where you'll find the list of all the available fields that you can get.
Yeah, so we invite you to have a look and have see how many surface parameters you can access. It was clear, the answer? Okay.
Else?
I'm not sure. It's supposed that the changes were applied also in the grid files as well?
Well, I'm not sure if you're using the WMO Essential, which is very limited, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is the access through the WMO account, the WMO Additional. It used to have a wider set than the Essential, but now it's much more extended. So I don't know if you're using the restricted access or the public essential access for those. Yeah. So basically, to access the whole range of products, you need to log in as WMO, whatever country, in our website or in this case in the FTP to get access to all those fields.
Any other question?
Yes, I have Juan Carlos Ramos of the National Weather Service on Mexico. I have a question.
Hello, hola.
Hi, hello, hola.
For having the license, it's necessary to sign an agreement between the National Weather Service on Mexico and WMO, or only is necessary to have in contact with you?
No, you WMO doesn't need to be involved. You just, and I think Mexico had it at some point. So basically, you just need to get in touch with us, and then basically the license agreement has to be signed by the Met Service, yeah, for whoever director or whoever in the organization who has the power to do this, to sign, and then just pay whatever fee depending on the license selected. But WMO doesn't have to be involved in this case. No.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There has been cases where some countries got some external funding to help with the licenses from international organizations and like the World Bank and similar, and that's completely different. Of course, that has it has other implications, but in normal conditions, what we do is just to get an agreement between the Met Service and ECMWF signed, and that's all.
Any more questions? Well, okay. It seems that we have no more questions, but in any case, as I mentioned, if you discussed with your colleagues and you have some question about this because they didn't understand, or you realize later, you can just write us and we will clarify.
And one thing I probably forgot to mention is the problem of having two webinars, the same webinar twice in a day, that you never know if you have mentioned everything. So I think I forgot to mention that we are going through some refurbishing of our internals in our website, which means that in terms of logging to our website, if you haven't changed the password for the last few months, you will be asked to reset it or set a new password again for the WMO account in order to keep accessing the products and to keep logging in as normal. I think the deadline is on the 20th of this month of November. An email will go out if it hasn't gone out already, announcing this and asking everyone to set a new password before this 20th of November, before it stops working. Okay. Any problem, any query, you just send an email to our service desk and they'll be happy to help.
Okay, thank you very much. So we say goodbye and well, we wait for your feedback.
Okay, it was great to have you here in this webinar. I hope you found it useful. And again, any questions, just get back to us. And from us, I think it's goodbye from the UK. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Adios.